Hi guys, decided to do not necessarily a blog, but just a little video just to thank everybody who I'm putting this on my fan page on Facebook. Feel welcome to like and share it or whatever, or any constructive criticism. But I just wanted to put this on here because I'd done some reflective practice in 2017, which I came across yesterday, about how far I've come. And now I've recognised how far I've come, which it's okay people telling me, but I have to feel it. And I found it, and I just thought it'd be a really good thing to sort of like update everyone how far I've come and how my EMDR therapy went back in 2017. And so, I took that piece of paper like I do, tweaked it, and just changed a few things around. But the main area is actually on there, like my progression. Anyway, so I decided to put it on, and it's also a thank you. I just want to thank all my friends and my family, all the students that supported me whilst offering them guest lectures, but all the service users I've spoke with while working as an expert advice with CQC that have inspired me as much as I've inspired them. For everybody that's been there in my good times and my bad, I'd like to say a massive thank you to my friend Georgina Long. Probably because we're both as crazy as each other, that's why she hung around. But yeah, she has been a constant for like the past 18 years. It's probably the longest relationship overall that I've ever had where someone stuck around for that long. So yeah, big thank you to her. Also to my Auntie Susan in America, who I wish I could be there for right now because she's going through her own stuff, just to let her know how amazing she is, and that how I want to thank her throughout the years where she never judged me. She never once said a bad word. She just listened and gave advice if I wanted it, and just being there on the end of the phone. I just want to thank her for that. And also, bit of throw in the mix, also I want to thank my mum as well, for still talking to me really. And we're getting actually quite a good relationship now, but still talking to me after all the years of the way I've treated her and stuff, down to me, my mental health, whatever, just not understanding anything. But anyway, yeah, love you, Mum, love you, Auntie Susan, love you, Georgina, and all the rest of you. Okay, so let's get on with it now, so I'll be here forever. Like I said, basically, what prompted me is I found a writing that I'd done after my reflective practice. Now I do a lot of reflective practice, but it's visual writing. This reflective practice was for me personally. After my EMDR, I had like this big, how can I put it, like a period of time where there was no clouds and everything was clear. And I sort of like started reflecting on things throughout my journey, areas that I still struggled with and why I struggled with them and justifying them. And I'd put them all down. And I wanted to share that with you lot today because it's really important how far I've come and to know, I just think it's just right that I should do that anyway. Just for the fact that you've been there for me when I needed you, etc. And like I say, it was wrote in 2017. You have to excuse me if I'm looking down because clearly I don't know off by heart, and I have to write it down, otherwise many of you will know me and know I go off on a tangent and I end up talking about Asda or Tesco's by the end of it. So yeah, I've had to give myself some guidelines. Like I say, yeah, it's about the EMDR therapy, and firstly, to understand how my mental health has developed, how it's progressed or got worse, and to avoid textbook terminology. This is my example of how this therapy of EMDR 100% works. Okay, so here we go. From a young age, unknown to myself, most traumas at the time are like a mobile phone. And if I continue to add apps to my mobile phone and allow programs to run in the background, eventually it will start to freeze, it will slow down, it will do random things on its own, which mine's doing at the moment actually, and if I don't look after it properly, and it'll start to buffer, etc, and eventually it will break down. This is my example of how this EMDR works, by the way. So we're looking at using a mobile phone as an example. So my brain's the same. It contains, it's carried traumas And when we have a trauma, we generally have a period of time in between where our brain can process it and deal with it. Apparently, unknown to myself most of the times, I had trauma after trauma after trauma. So eventually, my brain just stored them and stored them and stored them. And like the mobile apps, eventually it was inevitable that it would break down. And basically, this is the kind of thing that happened with my brain. And that just endured so much trauma that in the end, it became a bout of where the box opened, Pandora's box opened, everything came out, but all in anger. If I was upset, if I was frustrated, if I was sad, it didn't matter what emotion I felt. I never felt the emotion. I was just raged with anger constantly. Everything made me angry. And that's because, like I say, my brain hadn't had time to process each one, and it just got so confused and so frustrated, it just broke down. But then that gave me, apart from a couple of arrests, it also gave me a recipe for a referral to psychological therapies. So here we go. And a chance at a better quality of life. This was when I was going through my reflective practice, and I realised that all the things about myself, the idea I was never good enough, the things of intimidation working alongside professionals, were all coming from, not them, but from a place within, from me. So I got to work, and along with a few other things, to show how textbook and reality differ, and to show and justify to myself that I am good enough, I am worthy of doing what I do and more, and I will keep pushing till I can be the best I can be. So here we go. What it is in the example. So we've got the professional, which is the textbook, and then we've got me, which is the lived reality version. Okay, so the professional, letters before the name, recognised qualifications on paper and degrees. Fantastic. I got letters after my name, actually. I call them my borderline backward names, names and letters. 4 kids, 4 failed marriages, 2 to 3 arrests, etc., etc. And like I say, these are my borderline backward names and letters, as they're on the wrong side of my Christian name. The professional got years spent in classrooms, on placements, and mentally exhausted for years and years with financial difficulties. I got years of bringing up 4 children with mental health issues, also whilst trying to understand my own issues before I even knew I had any. The professionals achieved recognitions, pride in themselves, they gain confidence, and a qualification on paper that's recognised by the Education Board. Well, I got rejection, drug abuse, physical and sexual abuse, and told I should never amount to anything, to the point where I started to believe it. I received a lived qualification that no textbook that's ever been written yet or ever will be written can teach anyone. So I think I kind of like that it balances itself out in that respect. There's a bit more in-depth stuff as I go on, but they're just a few things like the tip of the iceberg that I started to recognise. And to bullet point them, I kind of like put it down, collaboration, bullet points, from nothing to diagnosis to borderline backwards. Okay, to someone now who I feel is pretty amazing. So my illness at one point, obviously at the beginning, and a lot of people still believe was my weakness, but it has become my strength. It really has. It's educated. I've had a built-in educational program, which I've done myself by wanting to learn and self-knowledge about my own illnesses, and then acquiring a passion for helping others. I've educated myself to the point of now where I can help others that are less fortunate than myself. I won't say not as normal, because I hate the word normal, but that those that are less fortunate that unfortunately have got so poorly that they're not well enough to speak up or anything like that. So I've become their voice. in many situations, ones that I put myself in voluntarily with friends or whoever needs it. Although I've educated myself, it's not recognised by the Education Board. So in September now, I've decided that I'm going to go back to college, and it's happening, it's real. I have offered a placement and I've accepted it. So I can go and get the paper version as well as the live version, and set off on that long road of education to come and achieve and qualify. And I will qualify as a social worker. So anyway, after my reflective period of time, I wrote a reply of letter, but I wrote it to myself. But it was aimed at the professionals, some, not all, that I've worked alongside. And this is my reply, so you're going to bear with me now, because I will be looking down a lot more. I'm not being rude. Like I say, I didn't have a desk or a comfy chair. I didn't have the option of lying on a bed. What I had was holes in my shoes through walking for miles, looking for a friend's sofa to sleep on. I had bags under my eyes, not only from the lack of sleep, but sometimes from the physical abuse I had endured. Instead, I was on my feet 24/7, looking after and raising my 4 children alone, whilst trying to understand them and my own mental health issues I didn't recognise that I even had at the time. I didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, and I could only go food shopping on a daily basis to feed my children, and every so often, more than often, I would often go without, but as long as my children were fed, that was the main thing, because financially I just didn't have the money to do it. So they're just, like I say, the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I understand with people that are being educated and stuff, they have all these debts, like the loans for the education and everything to worry about, but can you actually sit back and imagine how it would feel just to know if you've got enough money to feed your own children? I mean, there's a world of difference, but there's such an experience lived to be learnt about. Like I say, the tip of the iceberg, but for all them above reasons, I feel I've earned the right now to stand alongside the qualified professionals, and I feel as accomplished as them. I've never ever felt that I'm better than them, but I also no longer feel any lesser or intimidated by them. I am confident I have earned my place in this life and my career, and the right to continue to do with what I do with confidence. By surviving childhood and teenage years, where things happened that I could not control, but I survived. And I am still here. I'm still achieving more and more every day. And that I live with the one constant throughout the past 5 years is that getting that feeling of lack of self-worth. Every time that a service user I've spoken to has asked for me to speak personally to them on a ward, when the times they've had to take me off the wards because every service user will only speak with me, for the times where you get that little thank you or just a smile from somebody you know that you've helped put a smile on the face, even if I can put one on my own. For me, that's my living and visual qualification, and for me that is, I'm not even going to try and explain how that feels, because you've got to experience the gratitude from one person, a total stranger, just for doing the smallest of things is amazing, and that's what keeps me continuing to want to carry on doing what I'm doing. As far as some of them at present, some of the service users I've spoke with, they're actually writing their own stories now in the hope of publication, when little thank yous that just give me confirmation that I have helped others and I am doing things right and I am helping, I'm not just wasting my time. And still to this day, I take all that gratitude and feelings of knowing I have helped these people over any amount of money. What they don't realise is how much they also help me. They give me a reason to carry on with a simple reminder that I'm good at what I do. So my rewards, the old and old value, there's no price tag to it. There's no hourly rate or 0 hours that could be put on them. And I shall continue to do this until the day I take my last breath, as it's never going to have a contract that shall end. I no longer hold a pity party. I now have the shock factor, where I get knocked down and I get back up. I get knocked down when I come fighting back, twice as strong and a little bit more educated about life itself. So I'll sit here proudly and confident and 100% that anyone who has or will ever suffer any form of mental health illnesses I want you to know that you're the strongest people God put on this earth. For the ones that have been lucky enough never to have any experience of mental health, I strongly believe could never even begin to survive half the stuff that we do. We brush ourselves off and get back up, even though we know what lays ahead for that day is going to be crap. Even one of the times when we try to take our lives, or the bad things, or whatever we've done, we're still here. We still get up and we still carry on. We're fighters and we're survivors. So not only do I hold a qualification, I think I also hold a quality. And no gift that no amount of studying or reading of books could help me to fight another day. For although our illnesses are our weaknesses, it can also become our strengths, giving us a willingness to survive. And I want this to give you a bit of hope that there's light at the end of the tunnel. My improvements now are most when I'm upset, I can cry without anger. I can feel that emotion and know it's justified and not a weakness. And it doesn't bother me that I am crying and showing that emotion in public. I don't feel weak. I don't feel stupid anymore. I'm still grounded. I'm not living in a delusional little bubble. I know I've got OCD and BPD, and I'll always have them. There's no cure for them. But they're just memories of the scars left from the times in my past when I've had to be at my strongest. I no longer now fear my mental health. I get it together. I know you embrace it. And that's what I'm hoping everyone else can do. For the past 12 months, I have experienced one trigger, and it was managed pretty well in comparison to a couple of years ago before the therapy, when I would have an average of 7 to 8 a day. All of them would end in violent and aggressive outbursts, of which reflected and affected me and my children, sadly. But now I can honestly say I have a better quality of life and I'm more open-minded and reasoning of others and myself, and I take full accountability and responsibility for my actions, alongside a deep passion to make helping others my life purpose. I'm ready to expand my knowledge and a willingness to open new areas of learning in regards to therapies and writing projects, and also my college experience coming up this year. But still, after all this, I wouldn't do anything different. I've been lucky enough to have them experiences, and now still at an age where I can still be educated as well. I'd keep the bad experiences too, because they made me what I am today. They allowed me to become stronger. These things are sent to try, as God once said, and it's true. Even though they cause me so much pain, a part of me, as they are but they're a part of me, and that's how it is. I'm aware of my strengths by still being alive today, still here, still fighting, still surviving. I'm loving life, I'm loving myself, and I'm still standing strong. And I just hope and pray that if anybody sees this is at a point in their lives where they feel like I did 10 years ago, that they've done everything they could possibly do and nothing else could possibly be there in this life for them. Believe me, keep knocking on doors, because one day you might just open one and have a whole new lease of life. So anyway, guys, I hope this video is alright. It is what it is. I've not done myself up or tried to make an effort, as you can see. I'm just sat here in my room doing what I do best, talking. So like I say, I hope you enjoy the video. Please do like and share. Let's see if we can get this positive mental health stigma out, especially to the media. You know, we're not all, you know, at death's door. We're not all at the end of a tunnel where it's blocked off. And they need to see this. The public society needs to see videos like this. Okay, maybe then, only then, will the stigma be reduced. Right, anyway, thank you guys. Hope to speak to you all soon. Thanks, bye.